So I'm gonna start recording and then we can get into the fight reviews. So Ben Max was first. I'm gonna invite you to the stage. Starting a little bit later than what I wanted, but I'm gonna keep it in mind. Keep track of the workshop time. So replays. Here's the code. Hello?
I do apologize. I'm trying to find a fight. I'm like in the last 4 minutes of the game.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Oh. It's funny, I added your tank a while back. I don't remember when it was that Queen got the new perk. I wanted to really test when that happened, like Queen Genji, see how good it was. Just like I wanted to test out like Zarya Genji with Swift Cuts. And then we never do it.
Yeah, so we are actually currently in a duo.
That's
5
fun.
games.
That's fun.
Or 4 games actually.
So I'll tell them that I'm the superior Genji and they'll just steal your duo. I'm just joking.
Very fun. Very funny. In case, yeah, it turns out pretty good. It's just there were some fights that were kind of and I'm trying to find one that was.
I recognize a lot of names in this lobby. This is a good one.
Yeah, I think it was like what GM1 Champ 3 or something, or Champ
Makes
4.
sense.
It was high.
Yeah. Also, quick thing while we're waiting for you to find the match. I just won 8 matches in a row playing ball. Now end of season, my ball is now apparently higher rank. I mean, not really. The hero SR is a meme, but I find it funny that ball is quote unquote higher ranked than my Genji.
Yeah, same. My Mauga is higher than my Genji.
But yeah,
I think.
I seriously think that like ball is just like the most broken tank, and it's just balanced by people being really bad at him and like the steep learning curve of the character essentially. I think that like ball is actually extraordinarily broken.
I mean, yeah, he's strong. I have no words for it.
Never dies, can do everything, has insane damage and mobility. I don't know.
Has a ridiculous traits because of his minor perk.
Broken perks, like literally perks that remove every sort of counterplay to the character. It's ridiculous. Okay. Do you have a fight already?
Sorry, talking and trying to watch through everything as quick as possible is difficult.
Do you mind if I go on to tough first then?
Yes, go to someone else.
Yeah, okay.
I'll be quiet.
Okay. I'll just move you back to the audience for now, and then invite tough. Hello?
Hello.
Ready for battle.
First fight in the game, yeah? Okay. So, what is it? Do you want me to just watch it first, or do you want to lay down the questions or anything about the fight before I review?
Yeah, I felt like this was winnable, but we were getting like really hard stomped, and I felt like I couldn't really identify what the problem was. It felt like their ball had like free reign in our backline, and their support combo was untouchable. But you'll see most of this right here is just fighting over space, trying to mark, but like just being completely overrun. So that's pretty much all.
Sure. I'll just give it a quick watch then, and then we can talk after. So here, the fight's still gonna be going on for a bit, but I'm assuming that you don't feel comfortable right now with how much you're doing, because you're not really getting to shoot many things, and you're just constantly having to back up and require support from your team, right? Okay. And I'm assuming they capture.
And then their ball just like feeds. As you talked about how broken ball was.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know Genji's not supposed to be a peel hero, but it felt like every single time I was in any position, the only thing I could do was just mark whoever the closest target was. So it was just constantly just peeling on accident.
So, what do you think you're supposed to do in this situation? Let's start there.
Just defend bridge and mark people out from like the flanks so they don't pry any angles on the team.
I like the second part more because while sure the bridge is a strong position, I don't like specifying something as much because it's not broadly applicable, right? So marking strong positions, especially flanks, right? Good. So in these kind of matchups, space control very important. Anything else? Do you think that what you did was right, or would you change anything about it?
I felt like if I could change anything, it would be to find a way to go in on their backline, because if their backline gets threatened, then they don't have the pressure to like constantly keep diving, but it didn't seem like it was in the cards. It would be very, very much forcing it, and with the Ana Zen with no other support like on my end to help me with the dive, it feels like I would just lose that passively.
Sure. So we have two things that we can address here, right? You are correct. Hello, Rustotter. You can start adding your stuff to the queue, the replay code and timestamp. We'll get to you later. Coming back to you, Tuff. Both approaches can be valid. It really depends on just how you want to handle things specifically. So let's say that you wanted to go on the supports. How should you handle the way that you play to go on the supports? I'm gonna speed through a little bit more just to give you a better reference. Here. You already know where both supports are in this situation. How are you gonna handle? Are you gonna try to flank immediately? Are you gonna wait? Tell me.
If I wanted to go for the supports and I didn't want to like scout beforehand and make a choice, I could have hid, but that's not something that could be done now. So right now I would just wait for their dive and then go in on their supports, because if I go in now, I'm a free kill. So wait for their Genji, Tracer, and Ball to go in, then try to do something. But it's still a 1v2.
Sure. And very important because this is one of the dangers of the dive matchups. If you go in too early, these characters are really good at turning back. They're not necessarily peel characters, and they won't really be going in for the peel necessarily. They will be going in for the kill. The Genji that's just feeding on the backline and they can reach the Genji, right? The Genji has shown the vulnerability by using the dash in, by using deflect, whatever, right? By being out of position. So that's something that you have to be very mindful about these comps. So either you play further back to force them to use their mobility in, so now you can use their mobility out. I already talked about this in a previous, I believe, live stream. Or in this case, you want to go in the backline, you wait for these divers to actually go on your team, spend their mobility here, so now when you go in on their backline, right, they cannot turn because they have already used their mobility in, right? They did this. Yeah, you can set up on the backline. I don't think you could have set up earlier here because of the specific circumstances, especially because you had no info. Like if there's a second fight, maybe you can hide already inside here because you know that they have a very vulnerable backline that is worth setting up on, and you just have to wait for the enemy divers to go in for you to look for your sneaky engagement on backline, right? But not the case here. Now for the other approach, which we were talking about and I think is very relevant, fighting for space. Is this space that you're holding relevant?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, was the micro good?
No.
Sure. That's all there is to it. That is a fine play in theory. You just need to deflect the Ana earlier. If you do deflect earlier and land a shot, you can try and kill on her. So you're doing a better job controlling the space. You also necessarily need to leave the space. You could also argue that you don't have to walk out into the bridge, right? Maybe you just hide and passively control the area. Force them to come into you.
Or just jiggle peek and not wide peek.
Yeah, exactly. But the important part is not so much about the small details that you can figure out, right? Is that like in theory what you're doing is fine, and here a lot of what is happening after is just bleeding, right? Mistake has already been made, so now the backline is free. The backline walks. you cannot contest these players anymore, and your team is slowly gonna get screwed. And because this is ranked, this is not like a scrim environment where your team is just gonna be like, oh, we have set up this advantage, full disengage, reset the situation. No, your team is slowly gonna bleed out and lose the fight. So that mistake matters a lot, right? And you can see here, right? Like your team is gonna die, your Reinhardt is low with only Mercy heals, right? You're all screwed. That's why you lose the point. So it's an unfortunate...
just looking at...
It's an unfortunate turn of events, but really, like, you had the theory there, basically. I wouldn't overthink this one.
Okay.
Anything else, or can we move on?
Just how I continue to fight afterwards, using my dash to engage on this Genji and just marking the tracer. Is that just what do they call, like, damage management, I guess? Like, it's the best I can do.
You mean that you're trying to staunch the bleeding, essentially?
Yeah, at this point the mistake's made, it's a lost fight. What's the most valuable thing I can do? Is it just like...
I mean, here, again, you don't have to overthink it. Can you engage the Zen that's like 20 meters away from you? Maybe.
No.
Maybe. Can you engage the Genji that's 15 meters from you? Is a little bit closer. So, more likely that you can do that, right? So, really, you just look to do what you can, or in case you really want to think big here, you can think, okay, this fight is lost unless let's say, assassinate backline. So maybe you actually wrap around to get the Zen and go for a high risk play on the backline and kill Chu, and then somehow turn the fight that way, right? That could be something that you do, but again, I wouldn't sweat it, because this is just like a way to maybe get back into the game after a lot of mistakes have already been made. We should worry about those mistakes first.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, hello, Average. If you want, you can already drop your timestamp or your code and timestamp in the chat to join the queue. BenMax, have you found your code already? Also, Tough, I'm gonna be moving you back to the audience now. Depending on how many people will join here, we might be able to do another round for the people here. But yeah. Sure. Do you have a question?
Hello.
Hello?
I send you the free chat.
If you don't have a specific question that you would like to ask me here,
I do have one game when where I can where I didn't know what I can do better. So can you look at it?
Yeah, I can look at one fight. This is the purpose of this workshop.
Sure.
I'm gonna be rapid firing through people, then we can maybe do another round after, depending on how many people join.
Sure, I'll send it in a free chat. Okay.
Yeah, on the chat inside this workshop. Yeah. Let's see.
I send it in a free chat.
Sure. No one else has submitted so far. BenMax is still looking for something. So yeah, sure, we can get to yours already. So this is perfect. Let me go to Overwatch and then import your thing. So what's the specific fight that you want me to look at?
Just a whole fight. It's about 5 minutes. I started playing Overwatch for like around 2 weeks ago, and yeah, I just want to know what I can do better overall, and yeah, that's it.
Sure. So do you not have a specific fight in this replay code that you want me to look at?
I guess not.
Okay, we can look at the first one then.
Sure.
So you said that you're new to the game.
Yeah.
What's your rank or just general playtime on the character?
I started playing Overwatch about 2 weeks ago, so my rank is bronze 2 for now.
Sure.
I know if that's good or not.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine for a beginner.
All right.
So I'll pause here real quick before talking about the actual fight. But do you have any specific questions that you would like me to answer about maybe Genji's gameplay loop or something like that?
How do I engage without dying? I have sometimes problem with engaging. and I don't know how to correctly like make pressure on the enemy, I guess.
Sure. So we can start already from this example, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what range is Genji the best at?
Mid-range, I guess, to close range.
Sure, especially close range because of his right click. So the spread fire, right, the shotgun essentially, that's really good. So right now your setup is already great. You got close range to targets, so this is already great. Now Junkrat is scary up close, right? He's also very good close range, but you have tools to deal with him, right? You have deflect, so this is fine. He books you away. You're a little bit scared, and you didn't engage, right? This is all fine. So you made a successful engagement on the Junkrat, you did not die, and now you reset. This is all fine and all. Sure, over time you're gonna get better mechanically, right? So you maybe have a better chance of killing the Junkrat, but at the same time, Junkrat's gonna be hard to kill early in the fight, because he has those cooldowns, right? To boop you, to disengage himself, right? By moving away. But that's all fine. And now here's the part that I would really like to talk about. Because we just talked about the Junkrat engagement being good because of your proximity, because that's the character mostly wants to do. What about this range? You're gonna spend some time here shooting at this Cassidy that's like 20-30 meters away from you. Is this good?
I guess not necessarily, because like Genji has pretty slow projectiles.
And Cassidy has more range than you. So he just wins this trade. So let's say that then you want to close the gap on this Cassidy, right? He has the advantage on you at range, but you should have the upper hand up close. How do you close the gap on him?
Just dash onto him.
Sure.
Walk
From
a
here,
little bit closer and dash.
yeah. So walk a little bit closer and maybe dash through the open here, and then you're up close to him. Yeah, this is perfect. This is exactly what you want to do. Now, I will say you also have some alternatives, like there is a flank below here that's not quite showing on the screen. You can use this to like ignore this whole sightline over here. And then from here, maybe you can finish crossing without even having to use the dash. So now your engagement is much more deadly on this Cassidy. Maybe he cannot run away and maintain space by looking at you coming close and walking away himself, right? Those are things that you should think about as Genji, because you have that flexibility of your mobility. You can go many places on the map and not get punished, right? Just like you engage the Junkrat and disengage with dash. Have a lot of freedom of movement. But that's the main thing that I want you to think about moving forward. Just think about what range you want to fight characters in. Now, it's mostly gonna be close range because Genji excels up close, but against some characters, right? Let's say a Reaper that's really good close range but has no range pressure, maybe you can leverage your advantage at range, right? Because you have a range tool and he doesn't. But that's basically what I want you to think about. I want you to think about what range you beat a certain opponent in, and then trying to leverage that advantage. So whether that be setting yourself up at range or up close. Okay? Any questions?
No. No, not for now. Not for now.
Alrighty. Since you're new to the game, I would really recommend just like doing these small practice, right, to build up those fundamentals. So here we're talking a lot about like the positioning fundamentals for Genji. After you do a little bit of work here, you can move on to something else, like maybe let's say your timing, right? And then as you build up all of these fundamentals, you're gonna have a solid base from which to level up your gameplay and take you to the next level. But for now, you should worry about getting a like a really good base, some really strong fundamentals, and then you're gonna be growing really rapidly in skill.
All right. And I have also one problem with positioning. Sometimes I don't know what should I do in like a different when like my team gets is dead, for example. Then what should I do? when I'm 1v5 basically.
Have you tried a coffee?
If you're 1v5, it sounds like a timing issue. Like, if your team is dead,
Yeah.
maybe you should not be engaging, or you are engaging too late to the point where your team is dying before you're even in. That's what it sounds like to me. But yeah, if you have any further questions, you can always use any of the chats here, the Overwatch chat, to ask questions. Even like ask questions, just ask the community directly, or send a VOD for review on the VOD reviews forum. So you have a lot of options.
Yeah.
As for this workshop, I'm gonna move on now because your time is up and I have some other people in the queue. If we have more time, we might be able to rotate back to you, but for now that's gonna be it. So if you have anything more, just use the other chats, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Alrighty, no problem. I'm gonna move you back to the audience now. I'm gonna invite first Otter. And then we can get into another fight. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Alrighty. So, do you want to ask anything in particular before the fight, or just like let me know about something, or do you want to just let the fight play out and then go over something?
So I'll let you know about like the character that I feel like I struggle with the most is Freya, because it's mainly her charge shot is what gets me off guard most of the time, and I really don't know how to. I wouldn't say mitigate it. I'd say like mitigate not getting hit from it most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
The robot is pushing the barricade. Get in there. This bodes well for you.
Sure. So do you want me to focus on the Freya stuff, or is there anything else that you would like me to go over here? Like the Nanoblade?
I would say the Nanoblade. I guess when I Nanoblade, I usually get tunnel visioned. So for that, I only focused on the Freya when there was an Ana and a Curie off to the right. I noticed that later when I looked through. And it was also the positioning that I had afterwards. I don't know if that was a good position or a bad position, because I felt that it was good, but I died, and I'm sort of trying to figure out if it was good or bad in the moment.
Okay. So first, mitigating the ranged pressure. This is good. I don't know if you're using this consciously or not, but this is something that I talked about in one of my favorite videos, which is attention, right? You are being looked at by both their hit scans. The Ashe is now running, but initially she was looking at you, right? So what does that signify? That they're gonna be shooting at you or responding somewhere, right? Don't know necessarily what the response will be, but attention signifies something. And in this context, it means that they're gonna most likely shoot you because they are ranged characters, right? They have the advantage here. So the deflect, like the early deflect, is great. I really like this. So this is already great. Now, Blade, I would not recommend popping it on top of the enemy team, especially if you're not landing a combo to deal some extra damage at the start. I would recommend using cover. So here, I would not dash on top of them. I would dash, let's say here, so that none of those players could hurt you. Now in this case, it's a little bit awkward because of the Sigma being here, so maybe dashing above would be better. But with the nano, right, if you're relying on the nano damage boost, not as big of an issue, but still something to keep in mind, right? The blade pull is arguably the most important part of Blade. If you can make sure that you don't die or don't get CC doing it, your Blade is much more likely to succeed.
Okay.
Again, attention, deflect, good. You cannot take that 1v2, so you don't. You don't have resources right now, so it's gonna be awkward to actually engage. So you're handling this well. And the important part here is that I wouldn't be surprised, right? This would be a very common thought to be like, oh, I am not doing anything, right? Like you landed basically 0 damage on these characters, right? And in fact, you're kind of being bullied out of the high ground by them. Like the Kiriko is walking at you and trying to poke you out. The Freya is soon gonna have a sightline on you, etc. So this doesn't feel good for you. But what do you think about it? Is this actually bad for you, or is this secretly good?
It's not bad if I play cover, because then I'll be able to dodge the shots that are coming at me, and they'll have to force their way towards me and get into my range.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And a very important part here is that you're controlling relevant space, right? If you were just ducking behind cover 50 meters away from them, they would ignore you because you're a useless character at that range. But because you're in a very relevant high ground for your team, right? The enemy team cannot use this. This angle, imagine if the Freya is here. This Freya can just snipe your backline. Like, this is incredibly strong for her, and you're denying that. Same for Kiriko. You're also denying that. So you're not going to be able to engage these players because they are stacked together on this angle, preventing you from easily getting a kill or getting more tangible value. But you're getting a lot of abstract value in the form of space. Your team is now chilling, pushing bots, and bullying the Sigma slowly to gain space. So as long as you live here, you're doing your job. Because rather than engaging them and forcing them back directly, they already gave you the value from the engagement by preemptively backing up.
Okay.
So now you take the tool because you have resources, and now disengage. This is perfect. Now, this is where you made a mistake. You should not re-peek. Your cooldowns are out, you got poked out a little bit. You distracted for as long as your cycle allowed you to, right? So when we talk about tempo, tempo is the cycle of your character. So a character like Genji is gonna look like this, right? Where these are the cycles of pressure, and these are the cycles when we don't have our cooldowns, right? So with cooldowns we do a lot. Once we are down cooldowns, we need to chill because we don't do very much, right? A character like Winston is gonna be even bigger in the spikes and longer on the downtime because the bubble cycle is longer. It's not 8 seconds, I believe it's 12 seconds, right? A character like Ball is gonna be much more uptime. It's gonna be much more like this. It's less of a peak, although sometimes the power drive and shields are gonna be peaks, but Ball is much more about, let's say, sustained pressure, right? So you go in and out much faster, right? Hazard also is a good example for this. So the important part is to know the tempo of your character and to play around it. You were doing a really good job of playing around your tempo until suddenly, right, you decided to do this. And by trying to do this and not actually having the resources, you just die. And you go off a cliff, right?
Okay. For Freya, when she normally looks at you, would it be for like just being out in the open or peeking an angle? Would that force you to, or just rotating to a different angle, would that force you to use your deflect, or would you not really have to use that? Could you use dash, find maybe another way to get there somehow?
Depends on context. Like if she catches you off guard and you're in danger, use a cooldown. If you're barely peeking a corner and your supports can easily heal you, don't bother using a cooldown yet. If you're trying to cross from point A to point B to get closer to her, and the sightline is dangerous, use a cooldown to cross, right? It's all based on the context, and I'm sure that you have the knowledge to do this yourself, because it's not all that hard, and you have even shown me that you have the knowledge here, right? Like Frey is speaking you're deflecting, you're already answering properly, right? You have the cooldowns, you fight. You don't have the cooldowns, you don't fight. So overall, this was mostly very, very good fights on your part. You just made some small mistakes on the nanoblade rushing your dash especially, and tunnel visioning. But like even then, like the nanoblade was fine. So it's mainly just like this silly mistake at the end of like not playing around your tempo. That's basically it in terms of the feedback that I would give you here.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Cool.
I'm gonna move you back to the audience now. Hello, Matt Harian. Sorry, I I was very focused on the students that was in chat here. If you have a code and a timestamp, you can drop it in the chat. So far, it seems like no one else is in the queue as of right now. So any of the people that have not dropped the code yet could quickly snatch the first spot. Or Ben Max, if you have figured out the fight that you want reviewed, you could let me know, and then we can jump back into your replay. Okay. Hello.
Hello. Hello, Poke.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay, fine. I'm hearable and you are hearable. So I was trying to send the code, but it's just new to Discord on PC. I didn't know how to. Anyways, the code is, let me just say it. Where is it? Oh, let me copy and send it on Overwatch chat or the free chat.
Yeah, or the chat
Which one?
inside the workshop. Any chat, really.
I don't know how to be. Yeah, how do I access the chat inside the workshop? That's the question.
So, you're on PC, right?
Yeah.
So in this workshop stage, there should be a notification, I believe, around top right. That shows like a little speech bubble and a number, which should be like the number of messages or something.
Okay. I think I found the chat. Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
So we paste this one. Enter.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just have two questions about this game, no more than them. The first question is, on the first fight, what would have a champion Genji like you would have done better? And the second question is, how can I know, like normally in my games, how could I have the knowledge to know these type of gameplay that you would have done?
Sure. So we're addressing the
Yeah,
first
please,
fight then, essentially.
Yeah, let me just go to my second monitor. Okay, very good.
Okay. And Ben Max, I know the trouble. When I was doing this stuff with like Spylo, I would oftentimes just struggle to find a fight myself. It's a good sign, like, if you're struggling to find a fight for me to review, then that shows that you have a lot of knowledge in the game, so don't sweat it. Really, just like, don't sweat it. Yeah.
Okay, I to be honest didn't understand much, but
No, I was addressing someone in chat. Don't worry.
oh, okay.
Because I'm juggling a lot of people here. So, anything you would like to tell me about this specific fight before we go into it? Any questions, or would you rather just me watch and then we talk later?
I'll talk later.
Okay.
See you watching here.
Sure, we'll stop there. So let's go back to the start. So first things first.
That was happening.
First things first, I like this flank. The main thing that usually Genji gameplay revolves around is closing the gap, right? So this flank lets you close the gap. Now, I don't love this as much nowadays because it's just like people are so used to it, at least in high ranks. But
Right, you're right.
you can still try this. Like, and even in high rank, people have success with this, like, as long as you're mindful of if people are peeking here and trying to one-shot you with a sniper or stuff. I just personally prefer not to do it. The approach that I like to take is stand main, maybe poke out the tank a little bit, and go to the room that you used here. Because this is a much more controlled way to engage the high ground, right? You're never really going to engage this on bad terms where you get your deflect forced early, or you want to just suddenly bail out because of whatever reason, right? Like maybe you don't want to get close to a Mei or whatever it is on the high grounds. So that's the approach that I like to take, but that's just personal. You can use this high ground flank. It's good, forces him out, you're in a strong position. Only comment that I have here, this is fine to drop. Just be mindful that you're down dash, right? It's the same thing that I talked about right before. I think that you were already watching the workshop by then about tempo, right? So now your tempo is...
To be honest, I did.
You were not?
I just hopped in.
Okay. But basically what I was talking about earlier was about tempo, where it's just like the tempo of your character is essentially like when your character wants to go in and when they want to go out, right? So just like Genji is a slower tempo. It's just like boom, 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 right? It's much more like there's a burst of impact and then you chill. There's a burst of impact and you chill. Winston would be even slower. It would be like boom, boom, right? Because the bubble cycles are longer. Wrecking Ball, Hazard, they're much faster. They're like boom, 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 right? They're constantly applying pressure, swapping angles, etc. Right? So right now you already used your dash. So you're already on the part where your cycle is basically over, and you're most likely gonna want to chill to not get caught with your pants down, right? Like if this caster gets a little bit of backup, you can deflect and go back to high ground, but then the Genji should be able to chase you and kill. So while I don't hate this engagement, I do find it relevant to talk about this because it's gonna be something that will get you punished in other situations. Right? So just be mindful. In this context, it makes sense to drop with just deflect. You even get the kill on him because nobody else is looking. But if they were looking, I would cancel this. I would immediately walk climb and chill. Right?
Alright.
And the most relevant part about this too is that like you already did your job for the time being, right? You removed the hit scan from the high grounds and you have a really great setup for the future. So if you just AFK for 4 seconds, you then have a drop with all cooldowns on whoever you want. You have a perfect setup, right? So going in now is also a problem in terms of opportunity cost, because going in now means a weaker engagement than you would get in the near future. So you're choosing this weaker engagement rather than the stronger engagement soon, later, right?
Agreed.
Okay. So fine. And now you're down cooldown, so you're chilling. So this is all good. A little bit slow to recognize that you should be walking on the flank, right? One of the big things, if your cycle is over, right? Like you're off beat, let's say, right? Which is when you're waiting for the next beat. So in this case, you're waiting for your cooldowns. Great time to set up. So don't wait for you to already have cooldowns to do the flank. Flank while you don't have the cooldowns, because this flank does not require you to have cooldowns, right? So now you're wasting time.
Right.
Shooting main here wasn't bad. You can do that, especially because your team was fighting. But again, something to keep in mind. So yeah, this is great. You chill, you do something that's low maintenance, right? You don't really need support. You're just like poking very safely here. So that's something that you can do while you're off beat. And now you're on beat. You have all of your resources with a good setup. So you take the fight with the Genji. This is all great. Leads to the kill. Scary engagement to the Kiriko because you're off beat. You don't have your deflect. Now you have good cover. You have your team here to back you up. So it makes sense. But again, be mindful.
Right.
And then here, you were on beats because you had all the cooldowns. You were not full HP.
But I messed up with my jump.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say that you messed up mechanically. Like, this was just fine mechanically. The main...
I used the...
You can go.
Sorry, complete.
No.
The thing is, I have this bad habit of jumping. I really trying to focus on fixing it with my games.
Sure. I don't think that the jumping here, with you being so close, is bad. Because like you can even try to jump above him and force him to do a 180, so that would be really good. It's hard for him to aim at you there. But like the big thing here is not about the jump, it's about you probably shouldn't engage when your team is here and here. That's basically it. The rest is fine. Like you could just AFK on this corner, wait for your team to walk up, and then maybe look for him. But I still think it's like a reasonable risk because you had your resource to take the fight. You just lost to 1v1. So I wouldn't overthink this one. So you have good fundamentals here. I would just recommend looking to polish up your tempo, right? So when you are on beat and making the best use of it, and then when you're off beat and what to do when you're off beat, right? Do I want to flank, right? Use a downtime to set up, or do I want to just like do a more chill activity like poking from range, which is kind of safe, waiting for my next cycle, right? Any questions?
Right. the main question is like wondering in my mind is how do I, when I go to the replay, how can I like know all these stuff if I haven't got coached or don't have the normal knowledge? What to tell myself in the replay? What to tell myself?
Either you recognize a pattern in your own gameplay, so you brought me something here. I did not talk about the double jump. You, on your own, talked about wanting to get rid of this habit. So that's something that you can be like, oh, I recognize this thing, I don't like it, I want to fix it. How do I fix it? So then you figure out how to fix it, and then you practice that. And a lot of the thing is that it doesn't have to be analytical. You don't have to practice things based on what's optimal to actually work on in a moment. You can just practice things based on wanting to work on them. So right now, I'm heavily on an aim phase because I got into Kovacs thanks to Tough. I've been making a lot of progress there. I've been seeing a lot of improvement in game. I've now also changed all my gear, so I got a glass pad, which is really fun to play in. I got a new mouse, which arrived like 2 days ago, so I'm also getting used to that.
Congratulations.
I'm now using like a sleeve because you have to for like most glass pads. So it's all very new and exciting, right? Is that necessarily the best thing for me to work on? I don't know, but like it's not something that I have to sweat over because it's something that I'm enjoying doing. And isn't that most of the point? If I can do something that I enjoy and I'm gonna be seeing improvements, then I can worry about working on other things later. Then I can work on my positioning and on my timing or whatever. But so far, I've been seeing really good improvements to my aim and thus to my rank just on what I'm working on right now, without overthinking what I should working on. I haven't VOD reviewed myself basically in like a month or two. I've literally basically only just like aim trained and just had fun. So yeah, you don't have to overthink it. Coaching can be helpful. You can use resources like the VOD review farm that we have here on the server to do that kind of stuff and to help give you direction. But for the most part, it just matters what you are interested in working on and just going with that.
Well, most of it is just play the game not perfectly, as much perfect as I can. That's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Now it's gonna deflect after the jumps as you're falling. Yes. So I would agree with that, Ben Max, because like a more high level way of thinking about Genji would be like, and about like just like movement and aiming in general, right? Like good players think about like their own character. Great players think about the enemy and what they are trying to do, right? And then based on that, they can think about what's best. So sometimes you can do the most dumb movement ever, which is literally just you stick to the wall and then you keep walking into the wall rather than walking out, because the enemy won't expect it. The enemy will expect you to move away from the wall. And that's a really easy shot for them, because all they have to do, right, in this situation, is just place their crosshair in the way of your character, and the moment that you walk into it, boom, they shoot. That's one of the best aiming principles in the game, like crosshair placement and placed shots, essentially. And if you look at someone like Quartz, who just played and dominated in Overwatch, yes, right? But you're gonna see that from most top-level aimers, right? And I believe even Capitology made a whole video talking about this. It's not so much that they're insane in terms of like mechanical aim, right? Like raw aim. They're insane fundamentally. Like they always pick up on every single movement cue that you give them. They understand what's going on inside your head and your tendencies in terms of what you want to do, and they abuse that. So they are always making every single shot that they take infinitely easier and more consistent. And that's one of the big things that a tool like Kovacs really helps you, because through the varied types of scenarios that you have, you can isolate and practice specific skills. So there's, let's say, I'm not gonna open it right now, but there's one scenario, for example, that I can think about. That's a bunch of orbs that are moving around in predictable trajectories, and they rarely change directions, okay? So what's the aiming technique that you should use in this situation? This is a very interesting topic. What should you use to aim on these orbs and get the highest score? Should you just try to flick to each one of these as fast as possible? Should you just predict the trajectory and place your crosshair in their way and then wait for it to move into it and then shoot? What should you do? Very, very, very insightful question. And this is one of the biggest benefits I think that comes out of Kovacs. Not so much the raw aim from just like practicing on high volume, right? Or higher volume than usual, but from learning about all of these nuances of aiming and optimizing the way that you aim so that you can be faster and more consistent. So let me invite you to the stage already, Ben Max. Yeah. No strafe as soon as you get shot, they can land an easy triple headshot. Yes, that's a perfect example. There was a clip recently of I didn't finish watching, but I was like that's one of the last things that I watched from the current Overwatch CS. Yeah, I can invite you again. Where Landon was dueling Quartz on a tight corridor, and Landon just absolutely destroyed Quartz, who is one of, if not the best hitscan in the world right now. I don't know in terms of comparison to Lip or whatever, I don't really care whether or not my claim here is correct. But regardless, he is one of the best players ever, and Landon just destroyed him. Not because of mechanical skill, but because of insane aiming fundamentals. He just read his movement like a book and just triple tapped him. But yeah, does anybody want to...
So...
Go ahead.
You first.
I was just gonna ask, like, in terms of like this scenario that I'm describing here, of like the very predictable orbs that like change direction slowly. I was just wondering if anyone wanted me to keep developing on this, and if anyone wanted to like try guessing what the best aim technique for this is.
Honestly, that is something I would like to get better at. So I have no answer for this.
Sure. Anyone in chat? If no, just give me a quick yes or no, just to know if you are here and you're interested. Because otherwise I'll just be waiting for like 30 seconds and stuff, and then we waste a little bit of time. Okay, I'll just go with the answer then. It's a mix of everything, right? You want the flicks, obviously, but also you want the predictions on the paths, but also you want to track to make sure that the shots are consistent. It's a mixture of everything, which is why the scenario is so good. There's like a really... Like, the scenario depends so much on your fundamentals that, like, it looks so sick when you do it right, or when you watch good players doing it. So one of the biggest things in the scenario is paying attention to when targets have swapped directions. So, for example, if I'm aiming at this orb, and I finish off this orb, who is my next target? The answer is very simple. Any orb that just swapped directions recently. Because, as I talked about, the orbs change direction really infrequently, right? So if I destroy this orb and this one just strafed to the right, then I already know that if I place my crosshair around here, I will get this orb. So I'm aiming at one, but I'm paying attention to the other orbs. Not just that, when I go to aim here, I first flick to get close, and then from there I can either do a small adjustment flick from here, or I can do some small tracking to make sure that I'm on target, and then I click. So I'm making sure that I get the timing right, I don't rush the shots and then waste time by having to try a second shot rather than getting it on the first one, right? And when you get this flow right, it's really good because you're basically always just barely cutting off the orbs, so you're not wasting time waiting for them to go into your crosshair. You're being optimal on your flicks, you're being optimal on your tracking, you're being optimal on the placement of your crosshair. It's a really, really nice and satisfying flow that showcases perfectly good fundamental aim. And you're gonna find a lot of scenarios like that in Kovacs, right? Or other aim training scenarios, right? Really small dots are gonna test your stopping power and your flick accuracy, and how fast you can transition from a small or a big flick that gets you close into the adjustment flick that gets you on targets. And then after that, the recovery that going from this target to the next one, right? Rinse and repeat. So how good your flow is. So there are a bunch of scenarios that are going to practice you different things, And so far, after doing a lot of these things and leveling up to a certain level, I'm around now diamond average on Voltaic. I don't know how good that is, but maybe Tough as Nails can tell me what it is with like 100 hours on Kovacs. But the clip that I sent on hashtag clip sharing, the clip where I just like destroy a Lucio, who's probably the hardest character in the game to aim at when he's with good movement, right? Like he's so fast. Playing Genji, who is a character that does not really have very consistent poke damage, I destroyed him in 2 ranged shots. One clipped him, or not one clip. I mean, yes, kind of, but you get the point, right? Like, I destroyed a Lucio on a situation that you would basically never expect a Genji to ever be able to deal 50 damage to him, and I dealt 200 basically on him. All because of Kovacs. Because I practice all these fundamentals, so my ability to read his arc, to read the extra little jump that he did at the end, my ability to flick and then transition into the tracking, like this smooth tracking that will lead me to actually land those shots, like everything. If you look at it cautiously, you're gonna see a bunch of fundamentals being executed well that land me that kill. So yeah, really, really interesting stuff. And this reminds me that I have to finish my my aim guide, or the one that goes over like the aim mistakes, which I guess will also double as an aim guide to an extent. But yeah, aim stuff is really interesting, so I wanna talk more about it. Yeah, that was a side tangent and a half. So let's get back on topic now.
Thank you.
7.
All right, so it was
where is it?
709. Okay. Around there. It was really hard to find a fight because like even this one, I think I know what went wrong.
So you want just me to play the fight first, and then we can go into your questions and whatever?
That how it works?
Sure. Just watch it first.
All systems go!
You're in my flight path.
This ends now.
Okay. So let's.
A lot of things going on.
Yes. So decently long fight. So, what is it
Can I
that you
go
want to know?
my thoughts?
Yeah.
I believe what I did to the Sojourn was correct. I marked her so that my team could walk freely to the right side. It worked out.
This is all good. So if you gonna analyze this here, right? Very, very good. So you're doing the right thing in terms of like flank contest and like the range very well. And you're doing it at the right time, which is when your team is also swinging here. They don't have to swing the same angle, right? Just they are swinging, and you're also swinging
somewhere,
right? So this is very good. This is like there's a video from Capitology again mentioning that's exactly on this topic, like how to enter the pockets. Your team just entered the pockets very, very well. Everyone does so at the right time so that everyone is safe, and does so correctly micro-wise in that they're doing what their character is supposed to do, right? So this is a textbook so far. Okay, what else?
All right. Then next thing, if you currently look at ultimates, we're currently about to be 1-for-1. But Sojourn built her ultimate faster than mine, and we went in before I had mine. So I think the correct decision would have been, like, if you go a little bit further in, like we speed ring in when I did not have ult yet.
Sure.
Actually, sorry, I skipped a bit. Yes, we did get a kill on the Genji, but I don't think it was the correct decision to press the gas with speed ring. I feel like we would have just won the battle of attrition.
Sure. Okay. So in terms of ult layering, overclock versus rally, unless they manage to get on top of you and your team is doing a really good job, like slowly clearing space and whatnot, I think that this is all fine. Like you should have the advantage as long as your setup is superior. Like basically, if the Brig team gets on top of your Sojourn, then their Brig rally will probably beat the overclock, right? But with the setup like this is all fine. But in terms of like the fight plan, there can be multiple fight plans here. It can be play slow for Blade, open with overclocked for space, allow you to get the flank, and then Blade later in the fight when resources have been exhausted. Right, that's one really good plan that you can make. You can also just like just try to collapse on the Sojourn, and if you know that she has ult soon, and allow your Sojourn to just play freely, right? And then I don't know how good that plan is, but just like I'm just like quickly spitballing ideas, right? You could try to stack with your queen after clearing some space, right? Let's say now after you clear here, you walk here, you all get close enough to the Sigma, speed ring here. Run him down, right? And then maybe even with the rally, or maybe even the plan is just like run them down and just kill through the rally, right? Another fight plan. So just like there are a bunch of different ideas that can be had here. So I wouldn't sweat over the details. I would just care about what was the fight plan that was thought about. Did you talk about the fight plan in the voice chats or someone else? Were people fighting over it?
There was no fight plan. So what I think happened is we got the Genji. We saw we got a kill. Juno speed ring, even though no one called for it.
All systems go.
And I don't know. We lost the rally in overclock before I got ult.
So there is a mistake here, a very relevant mistake here, that I don't know if you caught. I'm gonna play this out. I'm gonna pause a certain moment after the mistake. I'm not gonna tell you when. I'm not gonna pause at the mistake. I just wanna see if you catch it. If not, I'm just gonna talk about it. But I just wanna see if you catch when the mistake happened from your part.
All right.
All systems go.
Okay. Do you know what the mistake was? Assuming that's a no, unless your mic is bugging out for some reason.
No, I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, but no. Like, in fact, I haven't think about it. Then no.
Yeah, exactly. So, I guess one way that I can try to lead you into the right answer here, right, rather than serving it directly to you, which is less productive.
I know. I gave up my angle, and now we're all just coming from one direction.
So right now on this push, where would you like to be?
I earned that area.
Where would you like to be?
Behind, like behind them, close to them, or I have both cooldowns.
So
I can
behind
just
them.
run back to my team.
I don't think this is doable. So what's a reasonable angle that you could have
on
right
that
now?
ledge to the left there.
Somewhere here?
Like a little bit higher to the left, like 45 degrees up to the left. Like where that fence is.
Like here, man?
With the bushes. Like I don't know, like they can't see me there. I can go over the roof and
you can be hiding here. You can be walking because they're not looking at you and you're looking at your queen. You could be here maybe if you decided to commit to the side earlier, and then you would also have an angle on them, right? Like there are a bunch of options. But the important thing here is that you are late. And this is a consequence, right? Like this is a consequence of something. Now the important part is, when did you made mistake that caused this to happen? Why are you late?
Like I
All systems go.
Yeah, I saw they were backing up. And instead of continuing to push like further around the left, I went back to my team, which took too long.
Sure. That's a little bit of a problem in terms of like the angle that you're choosing, but it's not the big thing. To me, what you're doing here is fine. Like this is great angle control, and the moment that they ignore you, you have a great angle yourself. Sure, maybe you could be a little bit more flexible and try to take a bit of an easier angle to deepen rather than trying to force through the open like you were. But at the same time, what you were doing is fine. So the mistake here is something that you actually don't do, which is interesting. Like you can see how most of the time your attention is here, But what's the cue for you to walk? For you to engage from this position?
My team walking up.
Yeah. It's the same thing as before, right? When your team entered the pockets, right? You engaged in the flank, right? You dealt with the flank threats. At the same time, your queen was pushing through the flank and taking the attention of most enemy players, right? So your team was not rushing in. Your team was just like entering the enemy's effective range in a reasonable way that they could handle, right? And through that, they earned space, right? They were not entering too early to the point that where they blow up or anything like that. Everything was well timed. You have a great position here. You just need a cue from your team of when they're walking that enables you to walk, right? You can even dash this backline here if you want. Dash immediately disengage. On. Yeah, I don't like this either, but what I'm saying is that like with good timing, especially because now this next engagement will lead to like an actual fight up close, right? Like the first time that you were engaging, quote unquote, it was just like positional fight, like the teams were not like committing yet. But this one, you could make this because even if you die, it's 2-for-1 while your team just runs down the Sigma or something, right? So in theory, even this play makes sense, which is what I'm trying, like the point that I'm trying to make, right? The Q is your team. The moment that your team walks here, you can deepen your angle, you can look for engagements, you can do whatever. The angle is fine. If you want to swap angles, sure, swap earlier. And then use the team's Q for when you engage, right? But the problem here is that like the Q for your team backing up should not necessarily mean for you to back up yourself. It should just be to chill. And then once your team is ready, once your team has dealt with Genji, right? And the main reason why I don't want you turning back is because the Genji isn't close, right? So that if the Genji was close, you could deal with him. If he's far, you were giving up your setup to not even do anything. So it's not worth giving up your setup. So in this case, your team AFKing signifies you AFK. And your team going in signifies you go in. Because you don't have any further angle that you can develop from here, right? You can't really change your setup without losing resources, and you need to be ready for when the fight breaks out, right? So this is basically as good of a setup as you'll get. So now you're literally just AFK. That's basically it. You just needed to look at your team better and then wait for the right Q to go in.
Point taken.
And that's just one of the things that's just like really funny about high level play. That like a lot of the time, just like yes, the players are great. They have insane amounts of skill, right? The fundamentals are all honed in like crazy. But then they'll make mistakes like this where they just forget to look at their team or they die with a bunch of cooldowns because they were thinking or something like that, right? Like they just miss a stage of the fight, something that they needed to do. Like here you just forgot to check what was happening. That's all you needed to do. Everything else was good, right? So that's all there was to it. And another fight maybe would analyze, you would make a different small mistake. But
yeah, there were a few.
But yeah.
Like missing a 1 HP rallying brig.
But yeah. Don't sweat too much over it. Maybe find a trend on these types of mistakes. Or in this case, if you want, just work on your habit of just like looking at your team better and syncing up your pressure, be it from the same angle or from an off angle, etc. Hello.
All right. Yes, sorry, I think you might cut out a little bit.
Maybe. I saw a small warning from Discord. But yeah. Is that it from this fight?
I think so. I get it. Look at my team more.
Because afterwards, I think it's all just a consequence of your setup, right? Like you're a bit low, you did what you could, like they rallied, so this is awkward and your queen is already dead and you can't do anything. And that's the like third lane. So there's nothing else to talk about here. Okay. And I think that concludes this workshop. Yeah, we have been live for like an hour or something. The fight reviews ended up taking a little bit longer than I thought, but it's fine. Not too many people joined, so it ended up being the perfect length for everyone. Did you all like this format? I'm blatantly stealing it from Spylo because Spylo did this on a live stream and I liked it, so I wanted to do it myself.
I did enjoy it. Thank you for the time.
All right, no problem. Just leave a little bit of time for the people in the audience to talk, and yeah. Okay, this is this is funny. To be fair, yes,
Oh lord.
replays were reset not long ago, but also I don't really have many games on tank, and this account is not my peak on tank. Like, I started from lower for some reason. Like, this account placed tank after not playing it a bit on GM4, GM5. It was GM4 when I started. My alt is GM1, so this is not just like, oh my god, I popped off so hard that I'm peaking insanely hard. But even then, it's just kind of crazy to just like go like this, 8 and 0. Like, I posted on ranked feats, like I had like a 38% match. Like, it's utterly insane. Calibration, uphill battle, winning trends, win, like all of those modifiers, crazy stuff. So yeah, sure. I guess I'll go for champ on these accounts too, because I just speedrunning it. Sorry, I might have interrupted you.
Yeah, what is it? This. All right, so funny story. I actually have an alt account that was my original Overwatch 1 account that I had for like 9.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I log in and nothing's there. All my friends removed, all my skins removed, everything is gone, including my rank. And I have been playing on it again, trying to rank it up, and been arguing with Blizzard support to get my stuff back. But
good luck with that.
yeah, but I'm not washed. I'm not losing to Masters players. Which I left in the chat as proof. Anyways, just trying to be funny.
Sure. Okay. Let me stop recording now.